Hey, it's the Right Rican, and today I'm going to touch this topic here about old school liberal versus the new liberal. And I just want to show this real quick. So Barry Weiss wrote an opinion piece saying the Civil War at the New York Times between the new liberals and old school. Now, I'm not going to talk about this article really. What I really want to focus on is how can you tell the difference between new school versus old school? I'm going to show you. Here's another story. The ACLU fights against free speech, argues Loudoun County teachers must use gender affirming pronouns. Okay. So I want you to see the difference between this article in 2021 versus 40 years ago. Over 40 years ago. And this is from the ACLU's own website. This is not me getting it from somewhere else. You could see it right here, ACLU. ACLU taking a stand for free speech in Skokie. Here it goes. In 1978, the ACLU took a controversial stand for free speech by defending a neo-Nazi group that wanted to march through the Chicago suburb of Skokie, where many Holocaust survivors lived. The notoriety of the case caused some ACO members to resign. But to many others, the case has come to represent the ACLU's unwavering commitment to principle. In fact, many of the laws the ACLU cited to defend the group's right to free speech and assembly were the same laws it had invoked during the civil rights era, when Southern cities tried to shut down civil rights marches with similar claims about violence and disruption the protests could cause. Although the ACLU prevailed in its free speech arguments, the neo-Nazi group never marched through Skokie, instead agreeing to stage a rally at Federal Plaza in downtown Chicago. And here goes. When the Nazis came to Skokie, freedom for the speech we hate. And that's the whole thing. That's the beauty that's why we have the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is not for the speech that we like. Now, for as much as I don't like these new invented pronouns flying in the face of, thousands of years of human history, because they make it seem like it's a white supremacy thing. All these, male, female, that's the nonsense they spout. But all the cultures around the world accepted that there was men and women. Not just, white European culture. It was here in the Americas, it was in China, it was in Africa, it was in India, everywhere. And now, it's, this is not about gender freedom. It's about control. It's about power. If they could make you believe 2 + 2 is 5, then it's 5. Then it's 5. So like I said, they want you to say 2 + 2 is 5. So they keep battering us and battering us. It reminds me of an episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation, where Picard was tortured, and the guy kept torturing him, trying to convince him that there was 4 lights, there was 5 lights, not 4. And so this is what we end up. This is what we got to do. This is what we're going to tell the people. When they keep trying to batter us and batter us. and see his face of discontent of not wanting to us fighting back and going, no, there's two genders. There's two genders. There's no 10,000 genders. Okay. When a transgender person wants to be the other sex, they're not trying to become one of the, many genders. They're either a male trying to become a female or a female trying to become male. That's it. Okay. Don't try to tell us there's all these. No, you know what? All these other things, you want to talk about a social construct? Yeah, that is your social construct that you're trying to create all these different genders. Okay. There's XY and XX. That's it. Now, granted, there's sometimes XXY, and you have the intersex people who have the double chromosome, but those intersex people, they're less than 1% of the population. Okay. So these people are trying to change millennia of human existence in just the last, what, 10 years? Just in the last 10 years. Look at right here. I mean, like I said, this story here is from 40 years ago. It's from 40 years ago. And here's a story from 10 years ago. Right, where's the story from 10 years ago. ACLU defends KKK's right to free speech. Yesterday, the ACLU of Eastern Missouri filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Cape Girardeau on behalf of the Traditionalist American Knights, KKK. Members had planned to place handbills on windshields of parked cars on September 28th until they discovered this is considered a crime by the city of Cape Girardeau. Our clients describe themselves as white patriotic Christian organization that believes, anyway, blah, 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 blah. They found that distributing leaflets is an effective way to recruit new members. Defending the rights of the group the government tries to censor because of their viewpoints is at heart of what the First Amendment and the ACLU stands for. So this just, we're talking about 9 years ago. 9 years ago, 10 years ago, they were still defending free speech. But now, the woke have even broken the ACLU. It's like, what was it? Trump that said everything that everything that becomes woke turns to shit. And he said that it's not far from the truth. It is not far from the truth. Yeah, it was President Trump. Here goes the clip.
Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit. Okay.
I mean, what can I say? I know people don't like that he talks like that he's a president. He should talk presidential, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong. If a doctor came to you and told you, I'm going to give you this medicine and you gotta take it. You gotta, if he was an asshole about the way he approached you with it, you would still do what the doctor said if because you would know he was doing it in your best interest. But that's, anyways, it's not about a Trump speech. It's not about Trump talk. It's just about the ACLU and the difference between old school liberal versus the new liberal. And I wouldn't even call them liberals because I disagree with it. You got old school liberals and you got these new progressives. These progressives, they're all over the place. This is the irony. I have a friend of mine. He doesn't trust the mandates, which I agree with him with, but he's a socialist in the sense that he wants to like universal health care. But here's the whole thing. if you get universal health care, guess what? These mandates, there's nothing you can do about them. Because in order to participate in the government healthcare, they're going to mandate stuff like this. Just remember that for people who are okay, that want universal healthcare, because once the government is the only one that's handing out healthcare, they make all the rules. Remember, a government big enough to give you everything is big enough to take it away. And at the end of the day, that's why I'm a libertarian. So, look, if I friends with a transgender person, I'm gonna call them by their name, and I'll call them he or she. If I know you're transitioning, but if you're a stranger and I don't know you, I don't know what to say. If you get offended because someone calls you the wrong pronoun who doesn't know you, then you have more issues than that. That's not your only issue. Okay. Um, so, to force teachers to have to say this stuff, they get in trouble if they say the wrong pronoun. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And that's the difference between the old school and the new liberals. And like I said, I don't call it that. These progressives, these democratic socialists, okay, there's nothing democratic about socialism. Once you create it, here's the difference between if the left and the right win. If the right wins the culture war, you could have a socialist state. Let's say you could all move to California and vote everything to be socialist there in California. But if you win nationally, I can't move, unless I move to like Texas and Texas succeeds from the union, I have to live under socialism, even if I don't want it. That's the beauty about our state. That's the beauty of our system of being able to go to a different state. Like those people who don't like the Texas abortion law, you could vote with your feet. You could vote with your feet and move to a different state. But anyways, I'm going to leave it right there. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about how the ACLU has changed from an organization that defended free speech that now is compelling speech, because that's a sick transformation. So, like I said, let me know what you need. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm the Right Rican. You can follow me on YouTube or Rumble. I'm also, you can interact with me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Gab, Telegram. I'm on some of the other sites. I just don't advertise them because I really don't go on them as much as I go on these other sites. So with that being said, have a good one, everyone.